But why is it so easy to confuse love and attraction? Well, one is we never really had to make that distinction, as we pointed out in the evolutionary history, between the lust and that connection, because we generally didn't last that much longer. But also, for psychological reasons. Now, I'm looking at it as a preview on my computer. Normally I would read it off of that, but then you'd be looking at the back of my head. So I'm going to try to read these small letters here. This is a great encapsulation of that view, and it's also taken from that same book, The Happiness Hypothesis. And it says, the troubadours did give us a particular myth of true love. The idea that real love burns brightly and passionately, and then it just keeps on burning until death. And then it just keeps on burning after death as the lovers are reunited in heaven. This myth seems to have grown and diffused in modern times into a set of interrelated ideas about love and marriage. As I see it, the author says, the modern myth of true love involves these beliefs. Okay. True love is passionate love that never fades. If you are in true love, you should marry that person. If love ends, you should leave that person because it was not true love in the first place. And if you can find the right person, you will have true love forever. Okay, those 4 beliefs. You might not believe this myth yourself, particularly if you are older than 30, but many young people in the Western nations are raised on it, and it acts as an ideal that they unconsciously carry with them, even if they scoff at it. And it's not just Hollywood that perpetrates the myth. Bollywood, the Indian film industry, and pretty much the whole world is even more romanticized. But if true love is defined as eternal passion, it is biologically impossible. Okay, so what are we after here? What are we trying to do? This girl who says, I'm in love with you, but I just, that guy's hot, and I just cheated on you with him. So how do we explain this? Well, let's get to the point. Attraction is an emotion. The way that word ought to be used, you're attracted to stuff that's an emotion, it's a feeling. Okay, and feelings are fickle. Feelings are not entirely within your control. You might have heard David Tian, it was like 15 years ago, and he wrote an ebook where he said, attraction is not a choice. It's a great way of putting the point that when we're feeling lust towards something, when your dick gets hard, or when her down there gets wet, that's not something that she rationalized that's not something that she arrived at through rational calculation. She didn't say, okay, his hip to waist ratio is exactly this much, and he's wearing this, and his body fat percentage is this. Therefore, okay, I'll allow it now. Let's get wet now. That's not how it happens. Right? It's just an immediate feeling, and that's how lust works. This is how attraction works. Now, when you're confused that some girl falls out of lust with you, or falls out of attraction for you, that's really stupid because people's feelings change all the time. All right, so you guys know how fickle you are when you're on the porn sites and you keep switching channels like you're never satisfied, right? Now we have those like free ones like Pornhub and shit like that where there's like 1 million channels at your disposal, and that can only have happened if guys keep flipping around, and that must be the case, right? So you're that way too. Your erection is quite fickle as well. And why would hers be any different? Now you're like, but it's different. It's love. All right, let's talk about love. So hopefully attraction as a feeling, and then as an emotion, where an emotion is a little bit more complicated than a feeling. But basically neither of them are entirely, especially when we first feel them, within our control. What's in our control is what we do as a result, what our behavior or actions are, or what decisions we make as a result. But that initial feeling, very few people can actually do anything about those. Those are usually based on preconceptions or presuppositions that were already pre-existing. That's why pre. Okay, so that's clear. Attraction is a feeling. It's an emotion. What about love? Love is a feeling. Love is an emotion, and this is the problem. This is where people, young people especially, confuse it just because they're both feelings. They talk about love as a pure feeling, and that's the problem.